Well, good morning again, everyone, and welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel. It's not the prettiest day in Florida. Lots of rain, lots of trailers in the parking lot, which you know my trailer, but you don't know those two. So, going to kind of do a quick shop update video this morning. Been running behind because I was up at Mike Finnegan's this weekend, which you'll see a couple of videos coming from that probably later this week. I also have my Freedom 500 video coming. If you're wondering, that is a really long edit because I end up with 5.5, 6 hours of footage from that hour-and-a-half long race. So it takes a lot of time to pick back through everything and get it all sorted out and get some kind of decent video put together that will be enjoyable to watch. But we'll get that done later, late this week, might be next week, but I promise that's coming. And I've even got stuff like back as far as I've got a Sebring Trans Am race with the Viper that I haven't put together yet, as well as our Road Atlanta race. It's gonna kind of maybe try to put those together or something, but anyways, today's video will be about what's going on in the shop right now, what those trailers are for, and yeah, what else we got going on. So see you inside. You can see Will standing inside of Spencer's car. There's some floor missing. So we're getting Spencer's car ready to start the roll cage on it, which means we've got a lot of cutting out to do to begin with. Morning, Will.
Morning.
You having fun?
Cutting up some stuff.
Yeah. So we're going to be putting a 25.3 spec roll cage into Spencer's car, which is a lot of bars and a lot of places. And it's easier just to cut the floor out, especially because we're trying to make this car as light as possible. All of the rules that he wants to fit don't require stock floors or stock suspension. So we're going to be doing something pretty serious with this thing. Pretty serious. But I'll be doing some more videos on that later, and while I've got the scales out today, which I'll show you why we've got the scales out here in just a second, we're gonna weigh all this stuff and see just how much it weighs before we start putting all the roll cage back in, which we're taking a lot of weight out of the body of this car, like pretty much just leaving the outer skin, because the lighter we can make it, the easier it will be to go really fast. So why are the scales out? Well, because we're doing some work to this thing, getting it ready to go to Virginia this afternoon for an SCCA race. So we've on the scales, we put some new upper front control arms on it, some new brakes, moved the battery up to inside of the car with a really small lithium battery. See her hiding right there. That battery weighs, I think, like 4.5 pounds. So we got that taken care of yesterday. Still got to clean up some stuff. Mounted a lap timer there in the dash, which you can kind of see. But it's down now. We've got it aligned. I've just got to finish the corner balancing on it. And then this thing will be in one of those trailers, headed to Virginia as soon as we can get it in the trailer, and Drew's going to load up and take it up there. And Drew will be crew chief this weekend on this car. So this is another of Lee's toys that has the Viper, and a little bit cheaper to maintain and race than the Vipers are. And there's the class he's going to go run in is, I forget which class it is specifically, but there's quite a few more cars in the class. So good to have a little bit more competition than what we've had in Trans Am lately. Trans Am stuff's been kind of sporadic, but it is what it is. All right, so one of the other trailers back there is actually owned by Craig, who did the millings work for where we normally park the trailer between the two buildings, and that was a huge help for me not getting my truck stuck. It's very easy to get the trailers in and out now, and one of the reasons why my trailer is parked over there is because as soon as the Challenger leaves, we will be unloading Vice Grip Garage's Chevelle out of my trailer, and it's coming in for us to put his Blueprint 540 back in that we kind of went through and inspected and kind of figured out why maybe it was leaking on the head gasket a little bit there. So we've got to do that. You'll see that later this month because we're getting it ready for Cletus and Cars Indy. But the other trailer, like I said, that's owned by Craig does some bracket racing, and he's got a car that, well, we don't see these often on the dyno, and they're kind of a pain in the butt to get on the dyno, but it's a Dragster. Yeah. So you can see I've got the front blocked up on some little wheelie carts there because obviously I can't, if the tires were on the 4-post lift, the back tires, well, this ends up hanging, you know, way out here. So the way to get it up on the dynos, to put it up on some rolly carts like that. Now I could take it back off, but it's just as easy to strap it down while it's up here, take care of it there. And this has a Holley Sniper on it, and the reason it's not done yet is because the fuel line that Craig had used, apparently he got a bad batch of fuel line or something, and I had the thing up here last week before Cletus and Cars, did a little bit of tuning work on it, got it really close, came back out the next morning to try cold start, and I hit the key to it, or the switch to turn the ignition on and the fuel injection, and it starts flooding fuel out of it because the fuel line had broken down actually underneath the seat. And we don't want fuel everywhere, and I'm not gonna sit in the car that has a giant fuel leak right under my butt. So he came and we cut out that piece of bad fuel line and spliced it. Thought maybe it had just gotten pinched at some point, but that wasn't the case, because after I came back from Cletus and Cars and Finnegan's house over the weekend, turned the key on again, and it was just pouring fuel. You can see the kind of remnants of the fuel leak down here. And that didn't work. So he took his fuel lines home last night. I'm gonna bring back some Teflon lines from, I guess, some other fuel line that he had at his house. And once we get all that done, then I'll be able to wrap this thing up on the dyno, put it back in the trailer. He'll come get it, take it home, and then we'll have the dyno free again. But sometimes that happens, you get bad parts. Maybe it was just some really cheap hose. I think he said he had bought it from a friend or something. But just as a warning to everybody else, like, use good quality AN hoses and stuff like that. Don't use the stuff you buy off of Amazon or eBay or something like that. I prefer to use Earl's hoses on all the stuff we do. Mostly we use the Earl's Ultra Pro line when we can. If not, there's some other hoses they use in their line with the regular AN fittings, because the Ultra Pro does take a special fitting. But when it comes to the regular AN hoses, we try to use the Earl's Ultralight or the Autolite, whichever hose fits their standard hose ends. And so far, knock on wood, I've never had any kind of fuel line leak or a fuel line break down like the ones that did on this car. I mean, literally, like, it's working fine, come back to it the next day, turn the switch on, and it's just pouring fuel out of the middle of the AN hose. Middle of the AN hose. Yeah, I think that sounded right. That's kind of a hard thing to say. But anyway, I'm gonna go over and finish scaling the Challenger, and then we'll move the scales and start weighing all the stuff from the Camaro. And then we've got some, that'll probably wrap up this video, but. So once I get all that done, I'll show you guys real time what all that stuff weighs from the Camaro. And then we'll be loading the Challenger up. I'm hoping that the weather clears up enough that I can at least take it out and kind of put a little bit of heat in the front rotors so that Lee doesn't have to do it first session on the track. Get just a little bit of pad transfer onto the rotors. But let's get to work doing that. See you guys back in a second. we got her all scaled. Ride height kind of set. Warm it up a little bit. I'm gonna take it and try and at least put a little heat into the front brakes. I might even just ride around dragging the front brakes while I'm on the accelerator pedal, because it's a little wet and I can't really do my normal, 60 mile an hour down to 20 mile an hour deal to put some heat in the pads. So, take you guys along for the ride with this thing. And then we'll be weighing all the crap out of the bottom of the Camaro. That'll probably be the end of this video. Let's go for a spin. All right, let's go for a spin. Hopefully, not a literal. Just a little test drive. Clicky thing is annoying. So that's some kind of special deal that keeps vacuum in the brake master cylinder or something. The guy that built this car had some interesting takes on things. Ooh, driving a boat. Weird. I gotta hit the brakes. No, I don't. We're going. We're going for it. Come on, guard. We out of gas. already got a little bit of heat in the brakes anyways. Well, I mean, the test drive felt good. I wanted to do a little bit more because I didn't quite get the front brake pads all the way bedded in. But that's gonna have to be all for the test drive in the Challenger, because she's out of gas. Do gotta say, she looks pretty good out here in the sun. Yeah, looks even better going around a racetrack, like any car. Oh gosh!
Oh, they were sitting.
That's not all of you got on these good feet. Yeah, that's 160 right there. Pick this whole thing up. Oh gosh! Will it bounce? Probably not. Get your hand up?
Yeah.
Alright. 280.
Dang it. I said 280 long.
Who said? It's gonna be pretty close on 300. But I guess try it. You're ready to run if it slides. It's dead on 300. Is it really? It's dead on 300. Oh, 301. All right, well, in case you were curious, that is 300 pounds of sheet metal. And like Will and I were just talking about, there's a good bit more left. I'm gonna guess probably 60, 70. I guess we'll find out once we get the rest of it cut out here. Don't know if that'll be today, but we'll save that for another video for you guys when we start putting the cage back in the car. We got a lot left to do, so. All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Appreciate everybody watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Helps us out, you know, stay in the YouTube algorithm and all that cool, crazy stuff. And give us a comment down at the bottom. Thumbs up, click the notification bell. Click the notification bell. I think I said that right. So it's time for me to go get cleaned up a little bit here, tune the dragster, and then we're bringing in Vice Grip Garage's Chevelle, which will be in a later episode of what all we're gonna do to it. So thanks again. See you guys next time.